Thanks for taking a seat with us today. You're here with Ban
and Heidi. This is a safe space for you to join in on our real-life, everyday conversations where we often find ourselves discussing women in sport, Paralympic sport, and of course, sitting volleyball. On today's episode, we had the privilege of talking to Lena Gabršček. That is not the correct pronunciation of her name, but I cannot say it in Slovenian. She is the captain of the Slovenian women's sitting volleyball team. Lena has been on the team since 2009 and is a one-time Paralympian, placing 6th at the London 2012 Games. She currently works for the Slovenian Olympic and Paralympic Committee and is a congenital arm amputee. She is passionate about promoting sport for people with disabilities.
Lena recently attended the World Paravolley final qualifier and led her team to qualify for Paris 2024. Congrats. As it has been over 10 years since Slovenia's last Paralympic appearance, she is looking forward to attending a high-profile event that is closer to home and will increase awareness about Paralympic sport and the Paralympic spirit. It was a pleasure sitting down with Lena as we learned more about her and her journey with sitting volleyball. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
Okay. Fit check. Okay.
Fit check.
So, me first. I actually did wear this in the episode.
You did. Well done.
Well, no, I wore this sweater, not this hat.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing a gray half zip. Literally, I think this is from Old Navy. How embarrassing.
Like, where is it from? Okay.
Yeah, we got the Kind ice cream hat still representing. It's back.
It's here to stay.
Yeah. Shout out my favorite ice cream store.
Love it. I am wearing a shirt that you have previously worn.
Correct.
On the pod, it says level the playing field from the gist.
Perfect.
Icons.
Yep.
Leading the way
Yep.
in sport in Canada. They also have a podcast. Listen in, everybody. And I'm just wearing a hat that I got while I was traveling in Norway a little while ago, and I love it. I love a flat brim.
Yeah, you really do.
I love a little bit of a curve, but this one's flat.
Yeah.
I'm a flat brim girly.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
It's my jam.
Okay.
All right, episode. What do we think?
Lena, it was really good. I was going to say I had no expectations, and that maybe sounds like a bad thing, but I haven't really talked to Lena, and she's played the sport longer than me. She's been on the team for like 15 years, and we've just never, we've played each other, but never really crossed paths, never chatted, never really trained with their team. We've never been there, had them here, so just really haven't crossed paths, and it was really awesome to chat with her and to have, again, some deeper level conversations and talk about what the Paralympics mean, her journey to find sitting volleyball, and just her passion for parasport and promoting disability within sport. And I think that's really cool.
It was. I think we have an opinion of athletes that we play against based on how they play and based on what we see on the court and what their demeanor is. But it's always interesting to sit down and have a conversation, especially when we're asking people, we've mentioned this before, but to speak in our language. Yep. So not their first language, and to speak English. And immediately, her English was perfect. Mm-hmm. She had a lot to say about women in sport and parasport right at the beginning. She said she wanted to represent youth with disabilities and people, kind of make a change, kind of like what we've talked about. But I think the leadership that I see when we kind of game plan against her, when we see her play, it does show up when she has that conversation as well. So that's really cool to see. And we had watched the last chance qualifier or the final qualifier. I think we changed the name
official
and watched them play. So it was nice to talk about that as well and get some inside perspective on how they were feeling. And we know that feeling. It's hard to qualify last, but they did it, and that's amazing.
I have two thoughts. The first thought's kind of bigger picture, and it's just just cool that this podcast has been our brainchild for a while, but to see it happening and actually having these conversations, and then to watch a game like that and then be able to talk to the person that was in it, those are things that we would not do. No. Never get that insight and never be able to share that experience. Not just us, but now everybody gets to hear about it and have some insight into those, what are big moments for us and for sitting volleyball. And I think that's really special. Yeah,
I agree. Getting some insight into the athlete mind and the athlete perspective in those moments of pressure, I think is invaluable for anyone, but especially for people who want to be in that position in the future and to learn from it. And I mean, we have these conversations all the time back and forth about how it felt on court or when we qualified and different moments like that. But now we're getting insight into other people's minds. And then we're like, oh yeah, same. And at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah.
And so it levels like across different countries and nationalities and cultures and perspectives from coaching staff. Because really, I don't know their coaching staff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're human and we feel those moments of pressure and we have doubt. Right? She expressed that bit of doubt. We were on our couch like, you can do it. We believe in you. We're like watching from afar. And then at the end of the day, they persevered and they won and they'll be in Paris. So let's go.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I also love that she could swear in English.
Exactly. I was like, she's comfortable with her English because she swore.
And now we want to go to Slovenia.
Exactly. The second point was just I like some of the parallels between our teams. And I think I pointed that out with her. I just can identify with being, I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows I like to celebrate and I like energy, but just being like a quieter team, just generally in demeanor. And they celebrate too. Obviously it's sport, but like their demeanor is quieter, more just like subtle and intense, like a quiet intensity. And I can just
off court, they're like that because they talk during the play.
For sure.
Like op.
Yeah. Just, I specifically mean like, we talked about their last game with Iran and that just being a battle of like emotion and like playing a team like them and I mean like playing Rwanda or playing Brazil, like teams with a lot of like energy throughout the whole game. It's different. So just kind of chatting with her about that, just seeing some kind of relatable.
And true. And like culturally, how some nations are a little more in your face and loud and like up on their feet all the time, and then others have a different style of play. And we definitely fall into the category of a little more calm, cool, collected. Yeah. Until we're not. and not the coach. Mark? The coach was not included in that description.
Yeah, no.
I will separate myself. If you don't know, I am the coach.
That is correct. We're like, should we start introducing ourselves by actually who we are? Like,
If you are from Slovenia and don't know, I am the head coach of Team Canada Women's Sitting Volleyball and
I am an athlete.
Exactly. The perfect duo. Sometimes.
So,
For this podcast.
We were moments. Overall, great time.
Yeah. I love it. I love chatting with more people. And even though we'll be competitors moving forward and heading into Paris, likely in the same pool, we will say hi. If we get a hi back, that's a bonus.
That's a bonus. And I just thought of this, but also cool that like they are basically their entire Paralympic delegation. Like they have some I think she said archery and some shooting athletes, but basically there's like 3 of them, but then so their sitting volleyball team is like all of Team Slovenia.
We think we're small. A small nation. No. All right. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, Lena, for joining us on the podcast today. We are very excited to talk to you. First of all, we would like to know who Lena is.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for asking me to join you. It's a pleasure to take a seat with you.
Yeah.
Who is Lena? I would say that I am a quite busy person. I'm a Paralympian. I am a sitting volleyball national team player. I'm actually the captain of the national team since 2015. But yeah, I like do any kinds of sports. I studied psychology, so I finished my master's in psychology. Yeah. I always wanted to work with athletes, so my goal is once to be a sports psychologist, but in Slovenia you have to do some extra license things, so I'm still in the process. So at the moment I work at the Olympic Committee of Slovenia.
Cool.
I work as a head of the Athletes Career Center department. So I'm dealing with athletes a lot, and I really like the job. But yeah, maybe an interesting thing is that I was the first disabled in Slovenia to get a coaching license in volleyball. But I'm not a coach.
Right.
Not yet.
I just, Yeah, I just had to get a license. So yeah, I also have my own small company because, um, well, my dream is to help other disabled, especially young disabled, to encourage them to do some sports. And it turned out that also parents need a lot of support because they just don't know how to deal with kids who are disabled. So yeah, in my spare time, I try to help those, and I like it very much. So that's basically it, I guess.
That's amazing.
That is. We asked the right person on the podcast. Thank you. That's so incredible. Tell us a bit about your childhood. You've told us about you now.
Yeah, so I was born without my left arm below an elbow. Yeah. To be honest, when I was a kid, I never felt any different because my parents raised me just like my older sister. Yeah, I grew up in a super small, not even town, it's a village, so everyone knew each other, and it was easy for me. So when I was in primary school, I never felt different anyhow. Because everyone knew me and everyone knew that I am doing things differently. So nobody actually noticed anymore that I don't have a hand. But yeah, then while growing up, of course, you start to feel different. For me, it happened in a high school because, you change the environment, you change your classmates, suddenly you are surrounded with totally new people. And for me, when it comes to my disability, this was the hardest time because it was hard for me to accept that I'm different, and I was starting to hide it. Luckily, I was already very involved in volleyball, and then I started to practice also sitting volleyball. And it helped me very much because I showed to myself and to others that I can do everything that I want to. So yeah, volleyball was really a big part of my high self-esteem, let's say, today, because it showed me that being different isn't a bad thing, but you just have to accept it, and you have to admit to yourself that you're different. And when you do that, it's easier to be different also to others.
Amazing. It sounds like you, from a young age, you've had to work through it, but have owned your disability. Did you wear an arm prosthetic, or do you wear one, not playing sport as well?
Yeah, actually, I got my first hand prosthesis when I was 6 months old.
Wow.
Not years, 6 months old.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
so through childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, first day they wanted me just to get used to it, which was a good idea. And then, yeah, I was wearing it basically every day. For example, it helped me ride a bike, and today I can do everything. Yeah. I can drive a car with gears. I don't need
wow.
Yeah, because
we can't even do that.
I can't do that. That's incredible.
Yeah, I have electric arm for everyday's use. Yeah, so I've been wearing it ever since I can remember. And yeah, today I'm very used to it, and I'm glad that I am using it because some things are actually easier. I mean, it's easier doing them with the hand prosthesis, but some are easier without it. So now I know what I can do with and what I can do without it. So I just decide on
makes sense
whatever I'm doing.
Awesome. People that don't know sitting volleyball as well might think that was a weird question for me to ask, but we're very comfortable, obviously, with prosthetics and with asking those questions. But the reason I asked is because for those listening, you wear an arm prosthetic while you play sitting volleyball. And I know that, obviously, playing and coaching against you. So what are some differences being a congenital arm amputee and playing sitting volleyball that you've noticed, maybe versus some of your teammates that have different disabilities?
Yeah, I mean, definitely being without an upper limb is bigger challenge than being without a leg. But for me, I always say that it's much easier if you are born without a limb or with your disability, because you just don't know the life with. I always say that
Yeah.
if now I would have two hands, for me it would be a problem, because I don't.
How do I do it?
I don't know how to use it, and yeah, I don't know how it feels to play volleyball with two hands. What the biggest challenge is when you have to have a new hand. For example, I started to play with electric one because no one knew that you can make special sports prostheses. And that one was super heavy and it was hard to play volleyball with it. But then the prostheses are also improving, and now we have these weird black arms.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, but I know what it looks like.
Yeah, so when you change an arm from one type to another, it's super hard, because it's like it's playing with another hand, and since everything is done with hands in volleyball, that's the hardest part. But those prostheses that we are using now are, for me, much better, because they are flexible and you can lean on them.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's easier to move now, because before I had the one that I would break right away if I would lean on, and then I was compensating and my arm always hurt, and it was bad. Yeah, so I guess we can be injured more because of it, because everything is done with one hand. So this is a minus, of course, but on the other hand, I think that if you are looking to other teams, and also in my team, when I started, of course, I was the only one without a hand. And now we have 4 girls without hands. And also, I think that when I started, 2 American girls were without hands, one from the Netherlands, and that was it. No one played volleyball if you were without a hand. So I think that today we have really many players without hands.
Every team, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And some are playing with, and some are playing without prostheses. But I think that it's better if you are not used to wearing it on everyday basis, then it's better not using it on the court, because if you are not used to it, I think you would struggle more to get used to play volleyball with it. That's my opinion, but
sure.
Yeah.
You have more understanding than we would, so we will take your opinion.
Yeah, adding an arm to go play volleyball. Like, I understand the space and time, and you just wouldn't. Be used to it.
But people ask me often why I chose volleyball, since I'm.
Right, good question.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would be easier if I would choose football, for example. But I don't know. The thing is that my older sister played volleyball.
Okay.
And I had to play too, of course.
Exactly.
And I just like team sports, and I didn't have any problems playing volleyball. So that was it. I mean, I started when I was 10 or 12, I think, because before playing sitting volleyball, I played a standing version. And when I was 10, I wasn't thinking that it's not a good idea to play volleyball if you don't have a hand. So, yeah.
Right.
Did you discover sitting volleyball, or did someone in Slovenia find you?
They found me. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
When
such
you
a
were
funny
big-
question, but it's like a normal question for us to ask. Like, how did
No. It's normal here in Slovenia too, especially for the time that when I started, because now the media coverage of parasport, it's much better now. But when I started, it was in 2009. No one spoke about parasport in Slovenia. So yeah, as I said, I was playing standing volleyball, and the ex-coach of the national team was also a coach of some high school team that I played against. And yeah, he saw me, and he invited me to join them. But and yeah, that's how it started.
Sounds similar to
Sounds similar. So lots of fun story. Yeah. Okay, so you've been on the team for like 15 years? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. What does being a national team athlete in Slovenia look like? Like, do you have club volleyball? Do you train in the city that you live in? How often do you see your teammates, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, in Slovenia, there officially are 5 clubs.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are mixed teams, so men, women, and disabled, non-disabled. We cannot make 6 or 5 teams just out of disabled girls. It's impossible.
Same with us.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So yeah, we do have clubs, and they have trainings once a week, let's say, in different areas in Slovenia. But then, yeah, it depends which part of the season it is, and if we are preparing for a major competition, of course we have more trainings. But we have a place that is, I mean, there's a place called Braslovče, and our national team coach actually rented a gym there. And we are, as a national team, we are basically always practicing there, because we can also sleep there. And he has a restaurant there. Yeah, so most of the times we, before the major competitions, we have like training weekend camps. So it means Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we are trying to come together also during weekdays, but it's hard because everyone is also working or studying or whatever. I told you before that in Slovenia everything is closed, but still, if you have to work for 8 hours and they then drive 1.5 hours in one side and back, and it takes just too much time. So yeah, let's say that, I mean, for example, when we were preparing for China qualification, we had 5 to 6 times a week trainings.
I mean, congratulations. We're jumping ahead, but,
We'll get there.
but congratulations on qualifying. The training 5 to 6 times a week worked. So that's amazing. But you would drive, like work, and then drive to a practice, and then drive home? Okay.
Wow.
How far is, I can't say it, but that town from where you live? Starts with a B, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, so for example, it takes me to work an hour, to go from my hometown to where I work in Ljubljana. It takes me an hour, and from Ljubljana to where we are practicing, it also takes around an hour.
Wow.
So you have to drive 2 hours. Yeah.
Holy smokes. Okay. So you live an hour away from where you work,
Yeah.
and you go every day?
Officially.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I have a boyfriend in the city where I work, so
okay.
yeah, I can stay
Less
also
commuting.
at his place.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. I work from home, so I never leave the house and then go to the
4
gym.
steps from right here. You were.
So a little different. We train out of the city that we both live in here in Edmonton. So it's very nice. And then we can practice here as a small group. There's 4 of us who live here. Well, 4 athletes and then all of our staff. Most of our staff. Sorry for everyone that I left out. Yeah. All of our coaching staff are here. And then everyone flies here where we live. So a little bit different. Yeah.
But still.
But Canada's huge. You can't drive. We would be driving for like 20 hours.
Yeah, in Slovenia you can go around Slovenia in 6 hours, I guess.
Our flights, the longest flight I think an athlete has on the team to get here is without a connection is like 5.5 hours. Yeah. And then they often have stops on the way. Yeah, Canada is so big. So
it's like I can fly across all of Europe.
Yeah. So right now we're training before obviously the Paralympics and before we go to the Super Six. So we will have athletes fly in for a whole week that want to come longer because it's just so far. Yeah. So a little different.
But same, kind of to your point of like people working, people in school, like just taking time off. Like I've heard those messages from other people we've interviewed and other athletes from different countries, and it feels like the same. So it's encouraging is the wrong word, but it's like nice to hear that other people have the same experiences and issues, and we do this because we love it, and it is a sacrifice to adjust your schooling, adjust your work, take unpaid vacation, etc. to be able to do this. It's not an easy thing.
But it's
No,
also
you
a
really
privilege.
have to
but it's
love the sport.
Exactly. Love what you do and be willing to maybe do less at work to do more with your team and hopefully have a job. It sounds like yours would be supportive if you worked with the Olympic Federation.
Yeah, I do. I'm lucky.
Yeah, that's great. Does your federation, do you have a separate federation for parasport? Do they support your team? Do you get funded as an athlete? Answer as much as you'd like of that, but we do want to highlight these things across the world.
Well, let's say that they are doing their best, but you never can get enough funds. So, and we are a team sport, which means that we need 10 times as much money as other individual athletes. So, for example, when we came back from Dali and we did qualify to Paris, they said, okay, that's it. You spent all the money.
What? Oh, I thought you were going to say the opposite. I saw all the parts. Like, you party. I was like, this is
$100,000.
So we don't know just yet how we're going to survive and how we're going to make it to Paris.
I'll write a letter.
We can't speak Slovenian, but you can translate. We'll write some letters.
All right, Branko.
To the right people. That's ridiculous. Okay, so there's some work to be done. Okay.
I mean, I think that specifically in sitting volleyball, we are actually doing an amazing job. I mean, Slovenia, as we said, it's super small, and to get a team, it's mission impossible. So we have 7 players that can actually play, because one is 65 years old and 2 just started to play. So with 7 players, we have to do all the magic.
Magic, literally.
So you literally have 7?
Yeah, we have 10 players, and one is 65, and 2 are
new.
2 are totally new, so they are not playing even for a year, and they didn't play volleyball before, so
lots
they
of
need
development.
a couple of years.
Okay. How many? What's the population of Slovenia? How many people?
2 million.
2 million. Oh, just like our city.
So earlier I said you were just in China. You were at the beginning of April. You were in China at the last chance qualifier for Paris. You beat Iran in the final to qualify. Tell us about that, or tell us about the whole tournament.
Yeah, the whole event. How was it?
Well, it was very well organized.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super nice, but also, yeah, intense. It was emotional roller coaster, I would say.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we knew that we can lose one match, but it definitely shouldn't be the last one.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was intense. I mean, we actually really believed that we can make it because we knew that we have a strong team and we knew that it's actually the last chance of generation. So yeah, we trained really hard before going to China, and in China everything was just perfect. Okay, the last match was
close.
Yeah. Thriller, but I don't know. I told you before that we only have 7 players that can actually play, so no one could get sick.
Right.
Nothing couldn't go wrong. For example, when we were in the Europeans in 2021, we thought that we will go there with 10 players, and then one got corona, and second couldn't go to the plane because she had some I don't know, she was dizzy and they didn't let her on the plane. So we came there just with 6 players. And yeah, of course, we didn't know what will happen before China and during China. You know, you go to a foreign country, the food is different, the air is different. So we knew that everything will have to be just perfect, that everything will go smooth. But yeah, you did, and
and you did it.
I don't know.
You did it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
You won. That's
Qualified.
After the match, I just couldn't believe it. It was, I don't know, it for me it was too much to handle because as I said, we knew that we can make it, but the final match against Iran was just ups and downs and ups and downs, and it was crazy, and I'm just so proud of the whole team, staff, that we survived it.
You persevered.
We made it, yeah.
It looked like a grind. Yeah. Like you said, the training before and the tournament, like it is not being able to lose a game. It's so like high and low. There's a lot of like emotion in that, but also the final game was also high and low.
It looked like the pressure that we have felt so many times on our team.
Looks very familiar.
I could see it like through. We were up watching here on the stream, which would cut out, and then we wouldn't know what was happening. Then we would watch again.
So while emailing everybody I know,
like so high, and you guys would like absolutely destroy them in a set, and then it'd be like, oh, we can do it, and then you feel the pressure, right? And then it's like back down, and they'd get the momentum, and those swings kept happening. And then that final set, were you down in the 5th set?
I mean, I think that the first problem was that we won the first match 3-0.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And then we won the first set also. I think it was 25-13 or something. Yeah. And we were like, okay, we're in Paris.
We did it, yeah.
Yeah, and then the second set happened, and it was crazy. And the 5th set, we were losing all the time, and then I just don't know how we made it. But
some
serving
runs, and then some good attacking at the end.
So 2 points different, and it would be, but we made it, and we are super, super, super happy and super proud, and
I can also relate to that feeling. Yeah, it's like the biggest weight off your shoulders. Like it is.
Yeah, but everyone knew that you're gonna make it. Come on.
We were down like 7 or 9.
No, we were down like 9-2 in the 3rd set versus Germany to qualify at World Cup. Yeah, we were losing 9-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I called a timeout, and I was like, everybody breathe, relax, move your body, and just set the ball and receive. Oh my gosh! Just so relieved. They're like, you totally told us what we need to do. I was like, I told you absolutely nothing, but great job for doing it. And then we won by 2 points as well, 25-23 to qualify. Yeah, we had 2 more sets if we needed them. But yeah, it's that pressure that you feel. But I could see as the captain, as the leader of the team, did you ever have any doubt, or were you trying to pull the team along? You looked really confident. I could see you like getting up and trying to bring the team. You're always pretty, you can stand up much easier than our athletes, but you're always pretty, at least looking from the outside in, you seem very confident. You seem to bring energy to your team, especially when they need it. Did you feel like you had to do that, or is that just you being yourself?
No, in the 5th set, I felt like I have to do it.
Yes.
I didn't feel confident at all.
Yeah.
I was just like praying, and I was thinking, fuck, we're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Seriously, I didn't believe it. I actually didn't believe it. But then, yeah, luckily other girls believed it, because, yeah, most of the time I am the one, and the number 14, we are the ones bringing team up, let's say.
Yep.
But at that point, my mind was totally blank, and I don't know, it was because in Slovenia you have a lot of stuff. Okay, you have, I don't know how many stuff, I guess a lot. Physio, doctor.
Yeah.
So we don't have anything. For example, sometimes I have to drive the van to the major competitions. For example, to Sarajevo, I was the one driving the van because I am the only one that can drive the van with gears. So I am sometimes everything. Team manager, van driver. I'm trying to get some sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. So I just had so many, and I actually work at the Olympic Committee. I work also for the Paralympic Committee, and there was so much pressure on my shoulders that if we had to play 6 sets, I would definitely
pass out. Well,
I
congratulations.
think our coach would also die in the coach.
Together. Well, you handled it very gracefully. We could see it through the stream that we were watching. And then after, we could see the relief on your face and on the whole team.
Yep.
And then just the pictures and everything we saw. So I think, I was just going to say, I think that's something to be really proud of. You're making a name for yourself and for sitting volleyball in your country. And that's not easy. And we, as much as you say we have staff now, we've been there. When I started with the program, we barely had athletes, we barely qualified, and that made a huge difference. So I think by qualifying, I know you've been there before at the Paralympics, but by qualifying now, in a day with media, in a day with social media, you can make change in your country. And I know that's what you've said you wanted to do, so be proud of that. Yeah. It's big.
No, it's super big, yeah. I mean, you said, we were at the Paralympics before, but I think that sitting volleyball changed so much that, I mean, being part of the Paralympics in Athens, it's totally different story than being part of the Paralympics now, if you ask me, because teams are super good now. The quality of the game is so much better. So, for us, I think this is the biggest success of all time. I mean, even to qualify.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I just kind of see like some similarities like in the teams, and like in our team and in your team, and like playing a team like Iran and like having so much emotion and so many like highs and lows. They just like grab onto that momentum and they just like yell the whole time. And like, we, don't get me wrong, I love to celebrate and I love to yell, and we can be like energetic as a team, but I don't think that's like always been our identity. And we sometimes are like, can definitely be quiet and just like, you have to weather the storm. And I just like, to Bad's point, like, just seeing that, you're saying it felt different maybe than what it looked like, but just kind of had that like calm and steady. I was like, they're gonna do it, like they're gonna just like pull it up in the end. Like, you just have to like weather the Iranian emotional storm, and like that's really hard to be able to like stay in some level of control on that and still come out. I can relate in specifically maybe games against Brazil, you know?
Yes, we have our rivals. But I think we say in English, like, fake it till you make it. And it sounds like that's what you did. So that's incredible. For us to play Iran, we'd never beaten Iran before the World Championships, right? Yeah, so we've been there. It's a hard team to play. There's lots of teams we had beaten before, and so it's just, you got to start somewhere.
And now you know, like, you can do it. Like, those games are huge. They're so hard. It's so hard, but it's definitely a learning opportunity.
It's exciting. Yeah. Is the language you speak called Slovenian?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I don't even know that.
Just check.
So is there a Slovenian word for Paralympics?
Yeah, it's very similar. We say Paralympiske igre, which means Paralympic Games.
Okay.
Paralympiske igre. Igre is games. But para-athlete, we would say parašportnik.
Oh.
Same for, like, Paralympian?
Paralympian is Paralympiads, but para-athletes, it's parašportnik.
Okay.
Because, it's different if you're... Yeah. So,
Cool. So the word does exist. We're trying to ask everyone so that we can understand if there's words in every country, because we know in some there isn't. They just still use Olympian for things.
What about sitting volleyball?
Sedeča odbojka.
Nailed it. Well, you don't know anything.
But in Italian, she said no.
No, yeah. She said sitting volleyball.
I'll just say sitting volleyball.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is it important in Slovenian, or in Slovenia in general, to be called a Paralympian versus an Olympian? Is that something, like, do people mistake you as an Olympian? It happens in English all the time. People be like, oh, you're going to the Olympics. And we're like, no, we're going to the Paralympics.
And it matters to us, and we care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it matters to us too. Yeah. I mean, I think that most of the people do know of course they know the difference, but I think that, I don't know, maybe, okay, they see that we are disabled, so maybe because of that, they see a difference, but no one knows about the Paralympic sign, for example. Everyone thinks that there are 5 circles.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work to be done.
Some work to do.
But you don't get mistaken as an Olympian, you're saying. People would understand you're a Paralympian.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 million people to teach versus a lot more in our country. Okay. So are you a one-time Paralympian? Or
yeah, I've been to London, yeah.
London. Okay, that's what I thought, but then I wasn't sure. What does it mean to be a Paralympian to you? What does it mean to have qualified again?
To be honest, these are 2 very different experiences for me, because in London I was 18 years old, and I actually didn't feel so much as I wasn't belonging to the team as much as I am now, because now I feel like this is my second family. And at that time, I was by far youngest. I mean, the second youngest girl was 10 years older than I was at that time. Yeah, so, I didn't feel the Paralympic spirit as much as I'm feeling it now, especially not before the Paralympics. It felt like just, okay, another competition. But then, when we came to the Paralympic village and I saw that this is actually a very big deal. And for me, the biggest surprise was that every match was actually full of spectators. We actually had people supporting us. So, London was, at the first, I didn't feel it as something special, but at the end it was really, really special special tournaments, special games, and I knew at that time that I want to qualify again and that I'm gonna work as hard as possible to do it again. And 12 years later, I did it. Yeah.
What do you look forward to the most about Paris?
I don't know. I think that for the whole Europe, it's super big deal, these Paralympic Games, because actually it feels like we're going home. I mean, in Europe, we have many different countries, but since we had like Asian period of games now, it actually feels like we're gonna play on a home court, let's say. So yeah, I think that it will be super nice because we already know that many people will come and watch us, our friends, our family, and it's much easier if it's on the same continent. And yeah, I think that this will be the best thing about Paris, that we can bring people that we like. And yeah, not just to support, but to let them also feel the Paralympic spirit, because it's something special. It is, of course.
Something you can't describe, that's for sure. Can you drive from Slovenia to France?
Yeah, you can.
So how long would it be? Like, will people drive
I
or
guess
fly?
like, no, we're gonna fly, of course.
Well, not
For
you,
example,
but your family.
yeah, some are gonna drive.
Okay.
If you want to take a road trip and, I don't know, get 2 stops, I think it's 12, 13 hours.
Okay, so far.
Yeah, it is far, but it's doable, I guess.
It's a day trip in Canada. That's how far I drive to my parents' house. No problem, one day.
See?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just from one province to the next in Canada. How many people on your team have been Paralympians? Do you know?
I would say half of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a group that's been before.
Yeah. I think 5 girls haven't been to Paralympics. 1 was at 2, so in Beijing and London, and 3 were also in Athens. So yeah, I would say half of us were and half weren't.
What I was saying is Ben, you said it's like hard to put into words, but like, why do you think the Paralympics are so special?
Well, of course, because so many different athletes gather at the same place. Yep. It's not just sitting volleyball players, it's all kinds of sports. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I never felt like I'm disabled. So
right.
This is gonna sound weird and maybe not so appropriate, but seeing people with super hard disabilities and doing them amazing things, it just gives you more motivation. And yeah, I mean, and it's sports, so, and it's Olympic Village, of course. For me, this was one of the biggest pros of the London, because you know how it is at the World Championships or some other tournaments. We stay in a hotel. Sometimes we don't even stay in the same hotel, so you don't even meet people from other countries. And in Olympic Village, you actually stay in a village full with athletes. I agree. So yeah.
I mean, I understand and agree with your point of seeing like different disabilities and people from different corners of the world. I just think it's like a magic little like bubble. Like, it's a world that's like made for disability. The people with visual impairments have all the accessibility they need, all the ramps for the wheelchair. Like, there's just everything set up for us to succeed. And I just think it's so cool.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I'm the minority that
you have all your limbs.
Walking around and being like,
weirdo.
Wow. Yeah. And these people are so inspiring, just seeing them navigate through the village and then knowing like, oh, that's their normal everyday life. And then they go out and kick ass on whatever field or track that they're playing on. It's so incredible. And we likely won't have time to watch any other sports, but that's also truly amazing for our families and friends and people to go over and watch and see that too. I'm like, go to this sport, watch this sport.
And people are asking,
so
they're
cool.
like, what else should we go watch? I'm like, I love that.
Sitting volleyball is clearly the most exciting, but you can watch the other ones. A little biased, but I think it's the best
sport.
Yeah, it is for sure. No, but actually, it is super exciting game.
I agree.
Yeah,
I would say even more exciting than volleyball because the game is so much faster and
exactly. That's what I say. I played university volleyball here and then semi-professionally, and I sit down and play now and I'm like, I'm having more fun playing and learning how to coach the athlete than I did when I played. And my knees are really bad, so it's nice to not have to jump.
And it's like not a knock or like a diss at any other sport, but like sitting volleyball is newer in the para sport and in the team sport like world. Most people know like what wheelchair basketball is, know what wheelchair rugby is, and almost all the time when I tell people I play sitting volleyball, I'm explaining what it is. So that's why we're doing this. We have a lot of work to do to like spread the sport, and volleyball already is like a lesser known sport, but I think it's just so exciting. We just have so far to go.
We do. Especially in Canada. Volleyball is not a really well-known sport, and across even North America compared to Europe. Like in Europe, there's so many countries that volleyball is the top sport in their nation, and that's exciting. And that's why I think it will be exciting to go to France and play and have people understand volleyball, and then they can learn more about sitting volleyball and highlight our sport.
In France, volleyball is a big deal, of course. And also in Italy, but Slovenia lately has also a super good national team. So in Slovenia, that makes also sitting volleyball more popular because, so
it's exciting.
Good timing. I mean, actually, our guys still have a chance to qualify to Paris. So the
indoor.
Through world ranking points, like at the end of
VNL,
Same with our women.
VNL is the best time of the year. so much volleyball to watch.
The final part will be in Ljubljana, in the Slovenian capital.
Are you gonna go watch?
I will be a volunteer, so I will be on every match.
Awesome.
Send your whole team to go watch. Like you should get passes, you should get tickets.
Amazing. I was gonna go off script, maybe.
I can tell when you like look. And
I'm just thinking.
I like don't know what you're looking.
I was just thinking about. It's exciting that the Paralympics are in Europe and you can have friends and family come watch. But what do you think about the fact that not all the games will be streamed or broadcast internationally? So, do you know that? One, and people who don't, so people, we think that the standard for competitions in general, you've said that Dali China was organized very well. The stream was mediocre at best, us watching from afar. That's my opinion. There was no announcer. There was a score. It was not always correct. And at a Paralympic Games, there's announcers. I don't know if there's Slovenian announcers. That's something we could...
Different per country.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, so different per country. But there's announcers, there's scores. It's a proper camera angle. It's pretty high quality. But for the Tokyo Games, there was no broadcasting for the first few days of the games. We made a huge kind of protest about that, and we were able to get our games in Canada broadcast, but it was just like more of a still camera with no announcing. And then now that's the same thing that's happening in Paris. So we were just wondering, you don't even know that because you've just qualified and haven't thought about it, but
this is my life.
Is that to someone who's been in para sport for so long, do you think that's acceptable? We're talking about VNL. Everything is broadcast, and that's why volleyball is growing worldwide. Yet in para sport, we need to raise the bar. We need to increase the standard.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I totally agree. It was also unacceptable in Cairo, where I didn't know that they're not gonna broadcast the Paris games.
Only the end games, so the first 3 days or something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the wording, but I believe it's the first 3 days. I think the messaging was the same from Tokyo and Paris that like they really promote that they're broadcasting every sport, and every sport has broadcasting, and that's like a huge thing for them to like a talking point. But like for sitting volleyball, it's not the first 3 days. For like table tennis and tennis, it's only certain amounts of courts, not all the courts. So like for lots of sports, it's not full broadcasting, even though they like to say everything has broadcasting. Yeah. So it's not really accurate. So for us, it's the first 3 days, which is, I mean, before Tokyo, we found that out like a week before we got there, which was the worst. But now it's months before, so hopefully we can get it figured out, but not good enough.
But if you don't make it to semifinal,
exactly.
Yep.
You have one game on stream or broadcast, possibly, yeah. So that's exactly where we were going into Tokyo, and we're like, this needs to be better. And I know that World Paravolley is working on it, so it's nothing against them right now.
Yep.
But I think in general, the IPC needs to be better. Our sport needs to be better.
Yep.
And I think the only way we can create change and awareness is to talk about it more. And I don't mean to be like bringing bad news, but I was curious if your team knew about that, but you don't, so that's okay. But in Cairo, like Cairo aside, like we qualified there, and I'll send my friends the game to watch. People who are new to sitting volleyball and that I meet through coaching, and they're like, I don't want to watch that game. I'd rather watch the games in Canada that you're hosting because there's an announcer that explains what's happening, that tells us what's going on. And they're like, this is blurry, and we can't tell. I'm like, well, watch the last 5 points because we qualify, you know? Like, that's sad. And like from Dali, can you even find your games that you played to show people?
Do you have the videos? Like, do they exist?
They do exist, but I think we are just lucky that we have Branko, the president of the Paravolley Europe, because he just finds everything and gets everything. I don't know, for example, in Europe, I think that they are doing quite a good job. I mean, they don't have announcers, but at least every match on every single competition is streamed. And we are I mean, in Europe, I think that they are actually trying and doing better and better job. So let's hope that bigger events like Paralympics also will.
Right? I would agree. I think Europe is leading the way as far as the standard for events and broadcasting or streaming. It's probably not broadcasting, but streaming. And then they use the challenge system at one of those events. I don't know how it went, but that's a good thing to see. We have to keep pushing the game and moving it forward. So let's hope it continues into the next quad.
Yeah. And
I mean, in Europe, if you want to organize a, I don't know, tournament, for example, we're gonna organize the beach paravolley tournament in July, and I mean, it's just an international tournament, but you have standards, and even though it's just another tournament, it doesn't matter about. I mean, it's not an important tournament, but every game has to be streamed anyway. So, I think this is a good.
It should be part of being able to host. It makes no sense why you would let someone host that can't do that.
I mean, ultimately, we're just jealous that you get to play so much. Yeah. We don't have countries that are close to us, and like there's so few. So, if you want to invite us to Golden Nations, like next year, we'll come.
Guest appearance.
Yeah, guest
Canada. Joined Paravolley Europe. Yeah. Just kidding.
Just to be able to play more.
We're gonna grow our zone.
It's happening.
On it.
I mean, in Europe, we actually have too many tournaments. I cannot get enough days off.
True.
Because now we have Euro Club League and this Golden League, and
we're traveling to Europe in June, and then in July, and then again in August, back and forth. Yeah, all summer.
There's a bit of time change going on.
What?
Yeah. So that's where we have to go to play. So no other option, or else we would not be playing before.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have the strongest team quite nearby. I mean, US, Brazil. But we are lucky because Italy is also super good, and we are neighbor countries. So that makes
amazing.
things so much easier.
Nice. Almost done.
We are. So we're using the podcast to kind of bring light to parasport and sitting volleyball. Are there any funny or unique stories that you have along your journey or with your team?
Oh, well, since we have so many girls without hands or arms, flying arms are usual thing on our trainings because it happens a lot when you are blocking that your prosthesis
It's coming
falls
off.
I was gonna ask that when you were talking about your prosthetic. So it'll literally fly across the gym?
Yeah, it did happen before, so
Oh my gosh.
sometimes
Amazing.
it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and then we had some cleaning ladies who came to the locker room and all the legs were around and she freaked out.
It's like,
Just a usual day.
yeah, just usual.
Yeah,
Yeah, for us, it's a lot of like, same like airports, traveling, like carrying limbs around, like going with extra legs through security, but going through security with extra arms is also funny.
You're like, you can't bring that with you. We're like,
It's my leg. So,
it's how I walk.
No, when it comes to flying, when you have to go through that, what is it?
Metal detector.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I didn't want to take off my hand because I didn't want people to see me without a hand.
Yep.
And it always became a big deal because they want to take my clothes off and blah, blah,
Oh
blah.
my
And I was
gosh.
like, okay, no way, I'm not going to do it anymore.
more.
And now I'm putting my arm in the box. And you always get the look like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on?
Exactly.
Yeah. What is happening? Yeah.
exactly. I have definitely been asked to take my leg off in security, and
Yeah,
I said no.
yeah.
Then I'm running after everyone and trying to get all mad at everyone. I'm like, no. When we were in China for the first time, it was
It
terrifying.
was hard.
Yeah,
China-
but
Yeah.
China is hard to get in if you don't
Yes.
have a hand because you have to put both thumbs.
Really?
Yeah.
So what did you
No.
do?
We did do that in Tokyo too.
I know, but both? Like, you would, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Well, Felicia
have
doesn't have fingers either.
Yeah.
She did it.
Well, when I first went to China, they totally didn't know what to do. Now they said, okay, just one. But
Okay.
when I first went to China, it was, I don't know, in 2013, I guess.
Wow.
It was a half an hour process because they just didn't know which button to push and yeah.
They're like,
And they
there's
just
no arm
couldn't.
for no hand.
Yeah, they just couldn't skip the process, you know.
You're like using a plastic hand. I'm like, no. It doesn't work.
I mean,
A day in the life.
things people would never think of, but
Yeah,
it's a serious problem.
exactly.
Stuck at immigration.
Love it.
Those are good stories. I like that. Limbs.
Love it. Okay, we're at the end.
We're at the end. You usually are like have questions floating around.
No, I won't keep asking them. I feel like we've kept you for a while. So thank you for your time. Where can we follow you on social media or your team on social media? Like Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter.
With your is it your
X.
name?
Yeah,
X.
it's Lena Gabršček, yeah. Without weird things on
Okay.
S and C, so.
Perfect.
Understood.
We'll put the link in our show notes. And does your team have, I think, an Instagram account?
Yeah, we
like-
have Paralympic Slovenia.
Okay, perfect.
Both Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect. We'll put that link in there.
Perfect.
Do you think that people in Slovenia will listen to this if you share it? Like, does a lot of people speak English?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I would say 80% of.
Oh, amazing.
Oh wow.
To travel probably as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's great.
I
Well,
mean,
hope-
no one speaks Slovene, so if you want to talk to anyone that it's not from Slovenia, you have to learn
Yes.
English. So.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right,
thinking.
okay.
I'm like, you have to learn English. Okay, so then you can share the episode and hopefully some people listen and maybe you'll get some new young athletes out there.
Maybe.
I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, right? Okay, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you again.
Thanks for listening to our passion project. We really enjoyed today's episode. And once again, congratulations to Slovenia for qualifying for Paris 2024.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody. Be sure to check out the episode notes for links to all we talked about today and information on all the socials. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hand was quite sweaty.
I'm drinking coffee.